Hello friends, today we discuss about the chapter Nationalism in India. What is meant by nationalism? Nationalism is the process, the thinking to become free from the slavery that known as nationalism. How it comes in our mind? At the time of British, they enforce some subject to us to study. They insist to study in their own language. So we get knowledge about the foreign history. We get the knowledge how they fight for their freedom. So this thinking engross in human beings and in Indians too. So we fight for the freedom. Whole that process is known as nationalism. Now the first is that the First World War, Khilafat and non-cooperation movement. 1913. Those era was really painful to the Indians. Why? Because 1914 First World War started and British involved in that war. This imposed lot of taxes on Indians. Prices are increased, it doubled. Then forced recruitment, it means that British forced the peoples to join the army for the First World War. Then crops failed. That time crops was failed, less crops cultivated, but the taxes was too much. Could they will be survive? All these in this lesson. Then influenza epidemic was also there. So that era was completely painful to the Indians and they want some relief. What was that relief? That relief was the Satyagraha which was given by Gandhiji. What is meant by Satyagraha? Satyagraha means Satyacha Agraha, Satya ka Agraha. When Gandhiji returned back from the South Africa, he started Satyagraha and it was really popular all over the India. Now the Satyagraha. Satyagraha means Satya ka Agraha. Here Champaran Satyagraha, it is so important in history because it is the first Satyagraha made by the Gandhi. Where? In Bihar. What happened? British forced the farmers to cultivate indigo. The farmers don't want to cultivate the indigo because after the cultivation of indigo, the land completely unfertile. Because of the infertilization of land, they never do other crops on that land. So they imposition of that cultivation, they opposed. But it was not succeed. When the Gandhiji come in 1915 to India, he started that famous Satyagraha which he actually done in South Africa and he get the success. In 1917, he take the leadership of the Bihar's that Champaran Satyagraha and he get the succeed and cultivation of indigo stop in the Bihar. In 1918, Kheda Satyagraha was also famous which was under the control of Gandhiji. Gujarat had a lot of land taxes imposed, forcibly imposed and collected the revenue on the land as a land tax by the collector. That time also it is not possible to pay such an imposed tax. So what happened? Gandhiji helped the Gujarat people and that also was very successful and the land tax was or the revenue was suspended at that time, which give the courage. This Satyagraha which give the courage to the people to fight against the British rule. So from 1915 to 1947, whole era in history is known as Gandhian because the Satyagraha was started and this Satyagraha was very popular in India. In First World War, India helped British. Indians fought for the British. Now the Indians think that after the World War, British will be give some consideration, some relaxation to the Indians, but it is not happened. Sir Sidney Rowlactt come from the England and he recommended some new laws. One of it that known as the Rowlactt Act or Black Act. Why it is so? Because the government has all right to imprison anybody without the trial. Government has a right to arrest anybody without any warrant. It means that where we have no right, but the government has right. This is also very painful thing to the Indians, where they are thinking that we will get some relief, we will get the independence, but it is not happened. So Gandhiji started and suggested again the Satyagraha against the Rowlacct Act, and we get success on the 6th April 1990, and the Rowlacct Act was suspended. We get our rights back. 1990. This year is also again painful thing because of one incident, Jallianwala Bagh massacres. What happened there? Punjab. When the people was against the Rowlactt Act, they want to take one meeting. So they invite Gandhiji. British government prohibited Gandhiji to enter in Punjab. So what happened next? The people who want to protest against that act, they gathered in Jallianwala Bagh and they started the meeting. General Dyer, who gave the order to the armed force to kill, near about 400 people was killed there, including men, women and children, and 1,660 rounds of fire was done by the soldier as per the order. This was a really painful thing. What the Indians want that time, they want to the freedom from that act. They want to suspend that act. So they gathered here and the General Dyer make these massacres. Rabindranath Tagore returned back the title Sir because of their such massacres. The next movement is so important in history. That is Khilafat Movement. What is meant by Khilafat Movement? Khalifa, who is a pious person for the Muslim and resided in Turkey. Now, at the time of World War, British needs support of Indian Muslims. So they assured that they will not give any trouble or harm to the Turkey. Now what happened after the World War? British imposed harsh peace treaty on Turkey, and for that Indian Muslims started Khilafat movement. It means that for the Khalifa, they started Khilafat movement. As its impact, all the Muslims are against the British rules and British laws. In 1919, non-cooperation movement is also one of the most important movement in history, because that in British rule all over the India because of the cooperation of Indians. If the Indians not cooperate to the British, then what happened? This was a big thing in the mind of Gandhiji that time, and because of that intention, Gandhiji started non-cooperation movement. Now, in 1920, Chittaranjan Das in Nagpur, he started non-cooperation movement under the guidance of Gandhiji. Procedure of non-cooperation movement is that the people's boycott the colleges, schools which is run by British government. They make bonfire of the foreign clothes. Because of that, British rule was really all over the India become weakened. So this movement was very successful, but because in 1921, when the Prince of Wales come to the India to see the Indian beauty, what he saw? Nothing else. The closed shutters of shops, no one on the road to welcome the prince because of non-cooperation movement. In the process of non-cooperation movement, when the peoples are boycotting the government ruling colleges, schools, making processions against the British. Now in Uttar Pradesh, Gorakhpur district, Chauri Chaura, the small village, when the procession was going very smoothly, very silently, at that time, the police openly fire on that procession. The anger and aggressive people killed 22 police officers in that incident. So Gandhiji think that where he started the Satyagraha. It's not a Satyagraha because it's not a Ahimsa, it's Hinsa. So at 12th February 1922, he suspended non-cooperation movement and Gandhiji was arrested by the British government in 1922 March. So in this way, non-cooperation movement is also giving a boost to the Indian peoples to against the British rule.